Welcome to Guzzler.
Gonna be a long time.
Elton John might be dead when this comes out.
The Queen might be at the rate she's going.
The Guzzler podcast is very sad to hear about the death of the Queen. I'll just put that in a folder, and then whenever she's dead,
Should we just say it for every old person?
Yeah. Oh, R.I.P. David Attenborough.
Don't you dare.
Guzzler podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Guzzler podcast. What episode are we on?
One of them.
93.
No.
57.
This is a maths episode.
Are we actually on 57?
Yeah, 57.
What?
What a guess.
I think 57.
We're on 57 episodes.
I guess, yeah.
At least 30% of those are alright.
You were there for them. You seem so shocked. You were literally there for all of them.
Every single
We haven't
one.
done a single episode without you.
Unfortunately.
That's good, isn't it?
We have like 100
Cheers,
videos
guys.
on the channel now.
That's pretty mad, isn't it?
It
Is this the
pretty much,
100th
100,
video?
100 views, 100 videos. Yeah?
Is this the 100th video?
No. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
We've hit a slow...
The 100th video
Slow
slipped
decline.
past without us or anyone else noticing. So, today we're going to be talking about maths. How do you feel about maths?
What, just in general?
Yeah,
Not
in
really,
general.
we're not really- we're not
no,
close.
not in general. Very specific. How do you feel about logarithms?
Yeah, not too bad
Although I
at
said it like that.
Logarithms.
Logarithms.
Good old
Me
log.
Good
Me
old
and
log,
maths.
yeah.
Me and maths are...
Log one.
I'll be talking about logarithms later, actually.
Me and maths aren't too...
Excited.
We're... I don't know, we're not on best terms, me and maths. We never really got on very well.
You got a GCSE in maths?
Just about.
What did you get?
I got a B.
That's not just about.
No, but it took me a very long while to get it. It was a sympathy vote.
Did you get it the other day or something?
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
So I
what
thought
did
I
you
better
say?
revise
You got it in
that.
year 11, right?
No, year 9 actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's not that long.
No, I got it in year 11.
People go to college and shit to get their GCSE.
Yeah, do yeah. No, I've never really been a fan of maths.
Declan?
I don't really care. I'm alright at it.
Ad.
I'm good at the things that I need to be good at.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm
exactly.
glad you're both enthusiastic. Maybe I'll change your mind.
And that would be a miracle coming up next week.
We're not be performing miracles next week, though. Are we? That would be cool, though, wouldn't
We've got
it?
a top
We
hat
might
of a
get some-
rabbit in it down here.
We might get some views in it. What did you say you got?
Top hat of a rabbit in
If we
it.
said you've got a top hat in a rabbit down there, like,
Yeah.
you've done that wrong.
It was a miracle.
It's
That's,
literally
that's
the
from
wrong
Now
one.
You See Me, innit?
I don't know, is it?
She pulls the top out of a rabbit.
Oh,
That's
Nice.
animal abuse. It's not a magic trick, right? It's animal abuse.
Rabbit.
I could get a top hat in a rabbit. It's not impressive, is it?
Oh no.
No, physically I could.
could you though?
Well,
Go catch the
I
rabbit.
reckon.
I put bigger things up there, so I can't see why not.
Alright then, well.
Right.
We need to put a disclaimer in. No
Yeah.
rabbits were harmed
Yeah.
during the making.
No, top
We're
hats
already
are broke.
Or
so
not-
long in, I only
or
mentioned
not
maths
making
yet.
of this video.
We've even spoken about maths once. So Pepsi.
That's
You heard of Pepsi?
That's got nothing to do with
When I say maths, people are going to be like, "Oh, this can be." It's very loosely maths. I'll be honest. It's just numbers in general, really. So Pepsi had a promotion in. I haven't written down the year. Probably 1994.
Alright.
I'll put down my house. They had a promotion, right? So whenever you bought some Pepsi or Pepsi products, whatever, you get Pepsi points. Have you
Right.
heard of Pepsi points?
Yeah, we didn't run on for very long, did it?
I literally not sure.
I think it was just like a...
You heard when I said I didn't write down the date.
No, but I mean, I'm saying, I've heard of Pepsi points, they didn't last very long.
No. I mean, I've never used them, so
No.
they're probably not still around.
No, I'm sure there was something bad happened to Pepsi points.
So something bad. This is ominous.
Yeah, so it's like...
Dun dun
they disappeared. It was a
dun.
bit like the Taliban.
I don't think it was.
That's not right.
So a T-shirt would cost you 75 Pepsi points.
No.
Okay, so that's your basis, all right?
How many would one Pepsi get?
75. I don't know.
As in how
I'm not
many?
that prepared, Declan.
How many points? Is
Well, you
one
could
Pepsi
buy
worth?
Pepsi points as well for 10 cents. So I assume like a can of Pepsi would give you like whatever the equivalent is. Of
Half
10
a-
cents.
What?
So maybe like 5 or something. No, it's 10 cents would give you a Pepsi point. A can of Pepsi is only going to be like what, 60 cents?
And you can buy a t-shirt with 70.
75.
That's like...
$7.50 for a T-shirt, which is quite cheap.
Cool,
Yeah,
and
like,
sweatshops.
this was the
are
90s.
like
This
an
was the
Ireland
90s.
job.
Though,
Oh.
so imagine things were cheaper.
Yeah.
So how much
do
do you think
the 90s
Them
as
Taiwanese,
Yeah, that's a good point.
them Taiwanese
This
kids
literally
were working
could have been
overdrive.
yesterday. Sunglasses, how much do you think they were then? If a T-shirt was 75
180.
I'll say like 30.
for sunglasses.
Yeah.
You think they're proper like B-Tech? Fair enough. Yeah.
Well,
It's 175. So
Oh!
5 points off.
I've never...
Nice.
I've never paid more money for glasses than I've ever a t-shirt.
Yeah, but
my
these
t-shirts
might
cost
be
£4.
actual sunglasses that actually protect you from the
Ray-Bans.
sun, whereas yours
Yeah.
do not, Louis.
Mm.
You're definitely going to have problems with your eyes in a bit. So, in a bit.
In a bit.
Leather jacket.
Oh no, that'd be spending
Or
about
1,000.
400. That's what? £40.
Well, I think that the t-shirts.
They're
would cost
1,450.
They didn't work this out right. They haven't. That's
Right.
that's £140 for leather jacket.
What about a AV8 Harriet 2 jumbo jet?
What?
Right, so this is the thing,
You
right?
can buy a jumbo jet.
This is where the maths comes in.
100 billion.
Right?
Wow.
So Pepsi launched Pepsi Points.
Yeah.
And then they made an advert. So this guy went in, he got a t-shirt, he got sunglasses, he got a leather jacket, he thought he was really cool. And then he went to school on a jumbo jet, right? Because that was the advert. It was meant to be like a bit funny, because they thought they were fucking funny or whatever. So in the advert they said that the jumbo jet was 7 million points. Right? That's what they said. And they thought, that's good, that's a big number, no issues. Now 7 million points
Is that 700,000?
is $700,000. Now, an AV8 Harriet 2 jumbo jet costs $20 million. So a guy put in a thing for Pepsi Points. He got $700,000 together, plus $10 shipping. and he sent his form to Pepsi and said, "Here's 7 million points. Can I have my jumbo jet, please? Which is worth $20 million." Do you think he got it?
Yeah, because it was a. Oh really?
He did not get it.
I was really hoping it's going. I thought it
How
was
did
going to
they
be like.
wiggle
I
out
thought it was
that?
going to be like a thing in there.
So they took him to court, and they argued that the advert was for comedic value, and it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. But it was a very, very long court proceeding, and obviously the court thing cost them a lot of money. So where the maths ties into it is it's the idea that when they made the advert, nobody could be bothered to check that a jumbo jet was worth more points than that. You know what I mean? Just nobody could be asked. Like 7 million to them, they were like, "Oh, that's a big number. No worries, that's sorted." But then it turns out that this guy could have actually made $19 million. So they actually re-released the advert where the jet cost 700 million points, which is obviously 70 million, and then it wouldn't have been affordable.
Non-issue.
If they
But
got
I
it, it'd have been
reckon-
like you spent £50 million more.
Yeah.
Than you
Imagine
should have
how
done.
many different types of cancer you'd have to get drinking all that Pepsi to get all them points.
Yeah.
If you couldn't buy points, I'd argue you couldn't have done it, but
That would have been impressive though, wouldn't it?
it would have been.
That would have been.
Just that IV drip
yeah,
of Pepsi.
just, like, that'd be insane.
But yeah, so that's quite an interesting thing. So that brings on to the point of like million seconds, billion seconds, and trillion seconds, which is a thing everyone loves to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And it's just the idea of humans don't understand big numbers. So a million seconds is 11 days. A billion seconds is over 31 years.
32, yeah. And it's like
And then-
3,200 years or something.
Yeah, for a billion seconds. So like,
It's crazy. Like the
So-
difference between a
trillion
millionaire.
seconds,
yeah, trillion seconds. So do you know why we struggle so much to understand that difference?
because we can't imagine.
I've given you a hint. I said it was coming up.
We can't imagine. Jumbo jet,
No.
Pepsi,
No.
miracles,
I said it was coming up.
maths, logarithm.
Logarithms.
Got it.
So let me ask you a question. This is like a QI type question. What is...
Wait. Okay, go on.
I'll explain why. Do you
No,
know what
I was
logarithm is?
just going to say that like, surely the issue is because we can't imagine the size, just the general size of.
No, but like the idea is that we can't perceive... The problem is we think that the gap between a million and a billion
It's
is
just
the
three
same
zeros.
as between a billion and a trillion, which it isn't at all.
No.
This is why. What is the middle number between 1 and 9?
So I say 5.
Right.
That's
What is
what
what
I'd
we
whisper
would
it.
say.
Yeah.
Because we've been taught to think... Because there's 4 numbers.
Because there's 4 numbers inside of.
We've been taught to think linearly, right?
Yeah.
So we've been taught number line 1, 9. What's in the middle?
Mm.
Now, naturally, what do you think a kid would say?
To be fair though, when you said that, me and Dad both looked at each other.
Yeah, but that's because you knew I was trying. He knew I was trying to trick him. That's why.
And when he said 5, I almost went.
Oh, no. What do you think?
That's why I whispered.
Yeah.
What do you think a child would say?
0 because they're stupid.
No.
Hang on, between 1 and.
If you said to a really small child who hadn't really done much maths yet, who hadn't really gone
2.
into the number line thing, no,
3.
3. If you ask a child what numbers between 1 and 9, what is in the middle of 1 and 9, they'll say 3.
Why would they?
Because they're stupid.
Because naturally humans think logarithmically, which means we take the multiples of things and then we find the middle. So a child thinks 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9. So the multiplicational middle of 9 is 3. That is the middle of 1 and 9. If you think
Is
logarithmically.
this like a trick that actually works?
This is real. This is a study.
Lick a frog's back and get high. You ask a 4-year-old what's the
This is a
middle between
study.
1 and 9.
They've asked loads
They
of
just
children.
say 3. They don't
and
know why.
typically, they'll say 3.
They don't know why. They just say 3. Like, Charlie, what's the number middle between 1 and 9? They just 3. And they go, whoa. Why did I say that? They just don't know. It's just like.
Obviously, they need
it's
to
a
know.
natural
They need to
phenomenon.
know a bit about numbers, but
A
yeah,
natural
before they're taught,
phenomenon.
they need to know a bit about numbers.
A natural phenomenon.
But this is why, again, logarithmically, we see the difference between a million, billion, and a trillion is the exact same because our brains say there's 1,000 times 1,000 there, times 1,000 there. So a billion is in the middle of a million and a trillion, and there's equal either side, but there's not because it doesn't work like that. But we
It's
see
a million, and 1,000.
Yeah, but we see logarithmically, which is the issue, and it's hard to
It's
get.
like 1,000 million is a billion, isn't it? And then a million is.
So we think that
Yeah,
billions
so we
in the
just see them
middle
all as
like,
1,000. Yes. So that, and we see even
I can
either
see
side.
that. The free thing threw me off. But like I can actually work it out now.
Yeah, so it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we struggle with big numbers, which is why Pepsi struggled to find a big enough number.
You would have thought they'd have hired someone smart enough to.
Just work out a second.
You'd hope so, wouldn't
It
you?
was one of the biggest companies in the world. It's in like the top
Yeah.
20, and it has been since its creation.
Yeah. They didn't know.
You'd have thought they'd hire the best.
Yeah. But they didn't. So there you go. That's my first little bit about maths. Interesting.
That's pretty
You
good.
like maths?
Yeah. I can't wait to ask that 5-year-old. It was like in the middle of 1 and 9. That's the best.
Just wait until you're around a 5-year-old. Don't force it.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Exactly, look a bit weird.
Did you? Just fine, bro. What's the middle of 1 and 9? 3. Whoa! What happened to me? Pretty mad.
So next time you called a child an idiot for getting the wrong number, check your logarithms. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right.
Moss grows on the north side of the tree. 5-year-old says number 3. Oh my god, it rhymes as well.
Please don't.
Is it right?
Enough. It's coming up to Christmas. Winter shit as it is. I don't need you doing this again.
Okay, so here's another case of numbers that humans struggle with. We struggle with a lot of things, apparently. Although, I've met a lot of people, I'm not surprised. A UK lottery scratch card had to be pulled the exact same week it was launched because it was causing too much confusion. What do you think was wrong with it? What could have been so confusing that they had to get rid of the scratch card?
Was it times tables instead of like 1, 2, 3?
It wasn't, but that's a good guess. That's a good guess.
Was it like... It was like match 3, but it was like 3 in a row or something.
No,
Right.
so it involved negative numbers. So basically, you'd scratch off a temperature at the top, and then you had to find, if you found a temperature lower than that one, then you would win the money, right? I actually have a passage to read here because it's one of my favourite things I've ever read. So obviously people struggle with negative numbers, which I do actually understand and like, especially multiplying negative numbers.
I think adding, taking away, multiplying, dividing negative numbers is actually...
And I would say, like, as someone who's done a degree in physics, 900% of the time. Wow. Yeah, as someone who did a degree in physics, 90% of the time, if someone's cocked up, you just say check your negatives, and then they've probably just made a negative error. So it is, but this is dumb. I'm not trying to stand up for this. So yeah, they basically, the card was called Cool Cash. It came with a temperature printed on it. You had to scratch a lower temperature than that. So this is a customer's complaint. On one of my cards, it said I had to find temperatures lower than -8. The numbers I uncovered were -6 and -7, so I'd obviously won. The woman at the shop agreed that I'd also won, but when she scanned the card, the machine said I hadn't won. I phoned Camelot, and they fobbed me off with some story that -6 is higher, not lower than -8, but I'm not having any of that.
I mean,
So they've been told
like, negative numbers are
multiple times.
Like that is real like stupid. Like that's.
I thought it was going to be more complex.
No.
Like she had to take away like minus.
It's like
4.
logarithms or something. Yeah, it's like if you find the logarithmic middle of the
Yeah.
number, you win money.
She just had to take away -4 from -8, and she was a bit like, she just had to. Okay, perfect.
The thing is, with negative numbers, the thing that the main thing that can help people is context, right? You give people a context, and it can become a bit more intuitive.
Yeah.
They said temperatures, so that's very intuitive. Like -50 is obviously fucking freezing cold, and -1's obviously not that cold. So
No.
obviously -50 is lower.
Not that cold. I've got icicles hanging off my chin, but it's not that cold.
It's not -50,
No,
mate.
actually.
But people still struggled, and they had to put it the exact same week it launched. So basically, if anyone's listening that makes a lottery scratch cards,
But can't they just,
don't
like,
use negative
don't they
numbers.
just scan it into a machine, and if the machine makes a noise, and they've won?
Yeah, but you know what people are like. People like that person. That person had it scanned and it said they hadn't won, and they still rang up Camelot. Then Camelot explained to them how negative numbers work, and they're still not happy.
If I worked at Camelot, I'd be like, "Who's this mug?
Yeah,
what are they doing?"
I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. I'd be like, "Are you serious?"
And my favourite thing
You
about
called
it
8 times today. Just
is, my
leave
favourite
it.
thing is that the cashier also agreed. They went there, and the
Yeah,
cashier went, "Oh yeah, you have won money."
When I was at work one day, and the boss likes to ring the phone at the bar and wind us up, so
Right.
put on accents and stuff.
Right.
And he put on a South African accent. It's like, "Are you on the boat?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "How do you get the boat? How do you get to the boat from the river?" And I was like, "You go up the river." And he was like, "What about the bridge? Can I come down?" And he was like, proper winding me up. I was like, "Is this an actual person?" Like,
But imagine being that shopkeeper, right?
I think you should launch the scratch card again, but we'll
Yeah.
put at the bottom, if you submit a false claim, we get the amount of
We
money
get the
that
money.
you think you've earned.
Yeah, that's good, actually.
I
And
love
then,
that.
and then
No,
they're
I
basically
think-
they're just going to rake in the cash,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's true. I think that, like, if I was at cashier, that woman was like, "Oh, I've won," and I go, "No, because like -6 is like higher than -8," and she goes, "No, I would feel like I can't be able to argue this stupid woman," so I'd go, "Oh yeah, yeah," and then I'd just pretend that I also agree with her because I'm like,
true.
"There's no, I'm not going to
You
win
wouldn't ring
this."
Camelot then, though, would you?
No.
I'd get out a piece of paper and just do like the 0, 1,
Do
-1,
the
and
number
go
line.
backwards and look, this is
Like,
closer to
Eventually, when you've got a queue
0.
of customers and she's still like disagreeing with you, I would eventually just go, "Yeah, fair enough, just take it and ring them. Just do it."
I would tell her I've got a master's degree, get out.
And then they'll go, "You're working in a petrol garage, just selling."
yeah, that's a good point.
Selling mechanic. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'd give her my mum's number to take up with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I've seen a lot this week of like people moaning that, I said a lot this week, I've seen a couple of posts about people saying school was pointless, we learnt nothing useful in school. I'd argue knowing the difference between negative temperatures is quite like fundamentally important.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know,
But,
what I mean?
like,
That's
what age
quite
did we learn
basic,
that?
isn't it?
Right,
Well,
like, shouldn't
apparently
infant
they don't learn it at all.
school. That's true. I'd argue infant school about that.
I think they learn it in like 5-6, year 5-6. Negative numbers are late, mate.
What, temperature negative numbers. I thought it was like year 2.
Nah, negative numbers are complicated.
Yeah, but adding and taking away, not knowing.
I
the
feel like you don't
minus
understand
one.
how stupid children are.
I'm sure learn it.
If you're a child, you're thick.
I'm sure.
Stop watching this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's got naughty words in.
It does with Dex here, which is
All
all
the
the time,
time,
yeah. Right, I'm going to ask you a new question now because I've had enough of that. What is special about the number 4,294,967,295?
Prime number.
It ends in 5.
Just like, I got
I'm glad it did because otherwise I'd be like,
that would have been sick though if I got that right. Is it?
There's something very, very special about it which you won't get, but it'd be cool if you did. I'd be impressed.
Is that 10 to 10 to 10 to 10?
No, that would be 1 with loads of zeros.
Okay, 5 to 5 to 5.
Is it? Like spell out a word.
Oh yeah, if you don't know upside down, it says boobies. Yeah, brilliant.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? That would actually been funny.
I actually would have been very impressed. I'm now trying to work out if it does say something.
That would have been sick.
I'll tell you because you won't get it. It's the maximum number you can write in
I was
32-bit
going to
binary.
say that 2-bit binary.
32-bit binary.
Oh.
Just like 2-bit binary. The biggest number you can write in 2-bit binary is 3.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
You know how binary works.
Not really.
It's not going to be very entertaining.
So is it
if I teach
32
you
to
that
32?
No, not at all. So, so basically,
Well, I
right?
think you should explain
Is it
why
32?
2-bit
I
binary
will.
goes to 3.
Is it 32 log?
Not at all. Do you know anything about binary?
1 and 0.
Yeah. Do you know anything else about binary?
I
He's done the
know,
easy bit.
I know that on Vio laptops it goes from the analog to binary on the thing. That's the logo.
So, basically, laptops are 32-bit typically. They're now starting to be 64-bit. So yours will be 64-bit, but like typically they were 32-bit on that brand. So basically what that means is you have a maximum of 32 spaces that can be 1 or 0.
Okay.
So if it's 1, that means that you add whatever value column it's in. If it's 0, you don't add that, right? So a very brief lesson on binary, you're not going to understand it because I can't write it down. But you start from right to left, not left to right. Right? The first column's 1. So if you have a 1 in the first column, you've got 1. So if you had 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, that's 1 in binary. The
If you
next
had-
column's worth 2.
Okay.
So if you want to make 2 in binary,
Yeah.
you'd have a 1 then a 0 because you've got 1 in the 2 column,
Right.
0 in the 1 column. If you want 3 in binary, you'd have 1 1.
So
So
it's
it's
all
a
the
2-bit
way up,
binary
so
would
if-
make 3 because you got 1 in the 1 column, 1 in the 2
So
column.
if you
Yeah.
wanted 32,
And then the next
1
column's
and
4.
like all the zeros.
The next column's 4.
Yeah,
So if
so
you want 4,
that
you got
makes
1 0
7.
0. You want 5, you got 1 0 1.
So
You
if
want
you
6,
wanted-
you got 1 1 0.
If you wanted 32, you'd put 1 in 32
In
and
the
the rest
32 and the
0.
rest 0. Yeah.
Holy
moly.
So that's how binary works. That's
Oh,
how
so
you read binary.
It's all 1 1.
So yeah, 32-bit binary means you've got 32 columns. And I
One in
don't know
each
what the
of them.
maximum number would be up to. And this number means you have 1 in every single one.
What's the number?
This is 4,294,967,295. That is the biggest number you can have in 32.
So is that 1 times 1 and 1 times 2 and 1?
I don't. It might also be some
Or
sort of
1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5?
It might be some sort of factorial or something, but I don't know. It's just all I know is the biggest number in 32-bit binary. But the reason it's an issue,
Right.
that's the biggest number computers can count up to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was that the plane thing?
One of them is the plain thing, yeah.
Right.
So that's the biggest number they can count up to. That's all they've got. 32-bit computers. They have no extra digits. There's nothing they can do. Sometimes they can reset,
Right.
but that can cause issues. Like sometimes there was a specific one where the computer thought that it was racing backwards in time because it went from the maximum back to 0,
Oh, yeah.
and then the whole thing just shut down.
And it just turned into like
Yeah,
an old Mac. Like,
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
an old iMac.
they were meant to reset it every time they land
Yeah.
back
Oh,
to
really?
the first number,
Yeah.
but they forgot and it just counted down to 0, and the plane thought it had reached the end of time, and it just went
And it just turns off.
nah. So that everything went,
Because they forgot to reset it.
and then they had to restart the plane again.
I like the idea though that because it thinks it's racing back in time, it just goes back to like Windows 94, and it's just like
It just hits a prehistoric era.
Yeah, it just keeps going. Yeah.
So
Like that. It
Goes
turns
back-
into a typewriter.
It
You
goes
just lay
back
it like-
4 billion years.
Yeah,
and
I like that. I like that idea.
32-bit
You
allows.
don't see him yet. Could you hear me? I said, imagine it was like prehistoric, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I said that bit.
He said it was like.
So it happened this is a different example to Declan's. In September 2004, 800 aircraft were making long-distance flights above California. Without warning, the air traffic control lost all radio contact with all the planes for about 3 hours. There weren't any
Oh my God.
accidents, but a lot of the planes came very, very close to each other. Like one plane was within I say very close, one plane was within 2 miles of another, which doesn't sound close, but these are
But it
planes
is, yeah.
going
Yeah.
ridiculously fast. So luckily nobody died, but it was literally because, like Dex said, they were meant to reset the systems every 30 days, but somebody forgot, and then it reached 50 days, which was just over the limit, and then it just shut down. The whole thing broke.
How do you fix it?
You can just reset it,
Oh, really?
but it takes a while to reset and reboot, and they're meant to do it in an off time or whatever.
That's pretty
but-
cool. Imagine that bloke. Really got sacked for that, wouldn't he?
So
Imagine that.
yeah, 100%. So this is why they've moved to 64-bit.
Imagine that being your only job. You just have to turn up once every 30
Yeah.
days. You get paid about 30 grand.
I like-
It's very.
I like the idea there's a support group, and he's there, and he's like, I'm Mark. I didn't reset the timers on the planes, and we lost contact 3 hours. And they go in a circle, and he goes, "Hi, I'm James, and I pulled Madonna off the stage at the Brits." And just saw these people who got sacked for big things, and it's just
Yeah, yeah. I actually forgot to mention that this is all based off that book. Read the book. Literally like the first 40 pages. The rest of the book's really, really good. So, apart from the bit on bridges. So, basically, I'm just not interested in bridges, no offence to him. The reason we moved to 64-bit, so obviously this limit was 50 days, which is not much at all. This was a real problem. But in 64-bit, if you made every single number a millisecond, right? So every one is a millisecond, then you'd only have to reset it. So that poor guy would have to reset it every 584 million years. So he's probably going to be alright. So that's
why did they
okay.
change it to
So that's a massive
64?
difference.
Huge.
50 days to.
Yeah, which is again what we're talking about.
A
With
lot
the, big number
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Because you've only doubled the bits.
50 days.
But that makes a massive difference.
So my next question was going to be, but you've already basically answered it, is that why do they go from 32-bit to 64-bit? Why do they not do 34-bit? But it's obviously because that wouldn't be that many more days.
There's also the thing in I don't understand. There's a thing in computers where they like twos, don't they?
Okay.
So
Does
like
that mean
32, that is the next step. They can't do 34.
Okay.
It goes 32 to
Does
64.
that mean you have to
So
turn your
would it-
computer off
would
every
it-
50 days or something? Should you use
Because 8 bits a thing, because that's 8, 16,
Okay.
16 bits a thing,
So
32 bits a thing.
As
It's always
we
twos.
get more and more technologically advanced, will that number continue to rise? Will it go to
I imagine it
128?
could do. But I there's no need for it currently. But
Does it?
maybe it could. I don't know.
256.
Yeah. Do you have to turn your computer up every day then? Like every few days?
We don't now, no.
But even the 32-bit ones?
But there was that thing about a lot of the original like Apple systems and stuff. You know, it always goes back to 1970. That's like the thing.
Yeah.
That's all in 32-bit, so like, they're gonna crash soon. I can't remember it. It's something about it in the book where like you know how the Y2K bug.
Yeah.
You know the Y2K bug.
No.
So
Like,
everyone said that
everything was going to fall out of the
year
sky,
2000 everything was gonna collapse
At
and
midnight.
crash.
Oh right.
That was a real thing, and it was
Yeah.
basically because when they set up computers, they just set up 2 digits because it was made in the 1900s. They were like the 1 and the 9 is always going to be the same.
Yeah.
We'll just change the last 2 digits. Then it hit 2000, and all of a sudden the 1 and the 9 aren't the same. They now need more data. They need to be able to more like they can't store dates anymore because it's not 19 something. So they had to change a lot of computer systems, otherwise they would have crashed. But they managed to do that. But the one that's coming up, which is like a 32-bit problem, he said is like going to be so much harder because it's like a hardware thing, and like anything you've got that's not connected to the internet, there's going to be no way to update it. Like things will just break.
Yeah.
But I can't remember when it's coming out.
Is that like a... Is that actually... Dennis, this is 2 questions. Is that like literally a date that happens?
Yeah, it's going to be really soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, things just stop working?
Yeah.
Because the 32-bit?
Yeah.
Is that... I thought it was... But it's not 50 days then?
No. It depends how you set the time
Okay.
thing. So like I think the 50 days, I think they said it as like everything was like a second. No.
Okay, right, yeah.
But if you did it in like a smaller... No, wait, everything was a millisecond, sorry.
If you did it,
If you did it as a second, if you did it as a bigger interval, or everything's a 10 second, you can get a longer period of time.
Right. Oh my god, that's actually mad.
Yeah. The issue with the plain one as well, they actually didn't even have that long because they were using 31-bit, which isn't a thing, but they were using 32-bit, but they were using one of the digits as like a sign.
Okay, right.
Yeah, they were using it. They were basically saying if it's a 0, if it's a 1, it's positive or negative. So they were using one of the bits.
Oh, okay.
So they only had 31
that
bits
was
to
a-
work.
that
Oh,
was
there's a
only
lot of
a
morals in
programmer.
this. Don't use negative numbers.
That was the program itself, like.
Yeah. So they only had they actually had less to work with,
That's
which was
really
really
mad.
really stupid. So yeah, that's my bit on that.
Wow.
So yes, interesting.
Quite
Isn't it?
interesting, actually.
Yeah.
There is more in the book. I skipped some of it because I just couldn't be asked. And this next bit's actually my favourite bit. I love this bit. It's on calendars. Oh, so do you know anything about calendars?
Right, I could tell you some stuff.
Could you?
Yeah.
Playboy ones?
Hmm?
Playboy ones?
Playboy ones.
Just quickly, I went into
Fine.
a modern art museum in Poland the other week, and someone had one artist that got like not page 3 calendars, but Playboy calendars. Was when coming out swimming pools and stuff in like just topless, and they painted over them in like so it looked like the Virgin Mary in all of these ones, and always around these like orgasmic faces, and he'd painted over them like a shawl and stuff like that, so they weren't nude. I thought it was really
The
cool.
Virgin Mary's next week, mate.
I just thought it was really cool.
Can you stop bringing up your episode in mind, please? I'll ask you a different question because you didn't answer the calendars one very well. Why were Russia 13 days late to the 1908 Olympics?
Didn't they have they were using a different calendar, right? We use a solar calendar?
No. But I'll quit while you're ahead because you've got the right answer.
Okay.
Did you not?
I feel like I've had that before, but they weren't actually late though, were they?
What do you mean?
They were
Yes.
actually late.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was the 10th of July,
Yeah.
which is when they were meant to arrive. The 10th of July in Russia was actually the 23rd of July in the UK. So they were meant to be on the 10th, which they thought was the 10th because it was in Russia, but they actually got on the 23rd, and they were 13 days late. It was already done.
Did no one tell them?
Nobody contacted them.
Yeah.
Russia, and you should be like, didn't turn up. It's pretty mad, don't it?
All these Olympians.
I feel like I suppose in
and they're like,
1908.
done, mate.
Yeah, you couldn't just like pick up the phone and or like tweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How are you going to contact them?
Imagine
Pigeon.
like
It might take them 13 days anyway.
Shout really loud.
Russia's quite far though, isn't it?
Russia!
I don't think even I could shut that far.
No one got on a plane. Just
No,
I suppose
shut.
they have. Well, they must have planes, surely, right?
What?
They must have planes then.
In 1908?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Not like...
not
good planes, though.
No one hopped on one.
Did they have planes? They have like commercial flights? They must have.
Someone ran up to the
They didn't, did they, in
Kremlin,
1908?
knocked on the door.
Like
and
the
was
First World War, they had like... Yeah, I don't think they
Yeah.
had commercial flights.
Okay.
Well, like Ryanair.
No.
Oh,
Low fares made easy.
It is weird, isn't it? That was like just over 100 years ago. They're like, now, people on Twitter like, Russia's missing in the Olympics, and you get everyone in Russia going, Oh, but yeah, we
We
should
should be
talk to
there.
someone.
Yeah.
we should
Also,
talk to someone.
I'd admit the 10th of July was when they wanted to be there, so their event wasn't the 10th of July. So if they did find out, they could have got there on time.
Okay.
But like you said, there wasn't much way to contact them in 1998. So, what was wrong with the calendars then? Dex had a guess, so I just want to see if you got any ideas.
When they made the calendars, they missed one of the pages off.
Is it something to do with the number of months or the number of days in a month?
I was gonna say something to do with the leap year thing.
Were they using?
to do leap years?
Oh.
Right. So we're gonna backtrack and then we'll get to the answer. I like this. This is interesting. How long is a year? Let's start there.
364 and a quarter.
365.
And
Quarter.
it's 364 and a quarter.
Yeah, so I thought it was, to be fair.
It's 365 and a quarter.
And leap year is what?
We'll get to that.
One more day.
360.
Ejo, is he alright? Typical. I didn't expect this to be the barrier. A year is actually 365 and a quarter, but we have 365 days in a year.
Right. And then what about
And then every
We have
fourth.
366.
Every honestly, I did not. I thought it was 364 and the leap year was 365. I am absolutely mind blown. I did not know it was 366 days. I did not know that.
Oh God!
I'm not even joking. I did not know that.
No.
I thought it was 364 and on leap year it's 365, which is why I was like 365 and a quarter. What, every year? And that's why I almost went. What, leap year is 366? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 110%
366.
sure.
Right.
I'm about to add an extra
And
thing
in
to
fact,
leap years, which people don't know. And
For years I've been like 364, 364. I did not know that. In the
He works
slightest.
in a school. No, it's
Yeah,
300.
no.
Typically we have 365 though, but on a leap year we have 366.
End
So
of fact.
a year is
That is mad. End of fact.
more specifically, a year is 365 days, 6 hours, 9 minutes, and 10 seconds. Right?
Okay.
So it's actually a little bit off of a quarter, but we'll get onto that later. So when you celebrate, the point is when you celebrate New Year this year, and we haven't had a leap year, we've just 365 days. We'll actually be 6 hours away from where we were last year in terms of the Earth. The Earth will be 6 hours away from where it was last year. So when we celebrate New Year, the Earth isn't in the same spot, but we're just
New
celebrating.
Year's just pointless in general, to be fair.
Pretty much. So that's quite tragic, isn't it? So the reason why do we have a leap year? For more specifically.
Just to make up that quarter, innit?
Yeah, but why is that
So
important?
we don't do like
So we don't touch the Olympic like
365 and a quarter days. We do 365 for 3 years, and then
Yes,
we have
we can't
366.
But why do we need that quarter anyway?
It's not we'd end up like Russia, like 11 days behind.
Yeah, but if everybody in the world did it, what would be a problem?
Seasons would change.
There you go. Seasons would change. Exactly right. So if all our years were just 365 days, then after 4 years, summer would be a whole day late, obviously, because we've missed a day, right? So after 800 years, summer and winter would be the other way around completely.
Right.
Because we've missed a day.
Yeah.
All the
How
time.
many
We
years?
keep missing a quarter. After 800 years,
Okay.
they'll be completely swapped. But like after 200 years, they're 3 months away.
That sounds quite fun, though. We could call it the Great Change.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
it's not a sudden thing, though, is it? Every year it'd be 6 hours later, and it wouldn't be as fun, would it?
Might be.
Let's try it.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry to backtrack.
Yeah.
The thing I find,
365 days.
what I find mad is that how did people, when did the modern Olympics start? 18.
The modern Olympics?
Yeah, 1860 or something, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
How did they get to the Olympics?
So you're really backtracking now.
I am. I just wondered how I ever get to the Olympics.
Boats.
That would take a long while.
Yep.
Like a really long while.
So it would take a long while.
That's
They had
like some mind
They had like a
blowing.
Roman Empire and like thousands of years before that, and they used to travel around
Was
pretty
it-
much the entire
Yeah,
globe.
no, yeah.
I know not for the Olympics, but I'm saying
I
they
just find
still
it weird
travelled.
that in 1890 they were like, for these next 3 weeks we're all just going to flock to South Africa to do some Olympic stuff and throw some javelins.
To be fair, I can't imagine.
You've
South
really
Af-
got a myopic worldview, haven't you?
I can't imagine
Well,
South
that's
Africa
weird,
were involved in 1860.
Maybe not, and I find it, yeah, it's true, yeah. And I find it weird that how did everyone know that it's going to do the Olympics every 4 years? How did they,
Leaflets, flyers,
well,
banners.
clearly Russia didn't get the memo that year, did they?
Telegrams.
Russia didn't get the memo that year. Is that
Letters.
easy to send a telegram? They probably should have sent it to Russia.
I don't want to tell you though. Research it for your next episode. You do a history degree. Work it out.
Alright,
So
I'll take that.
Jesus Christ. So the Romans noticed this, right? They noticed the seasons were changing.
Right, I was Go on then. We was on about the Roman Empire. Then you had the Romans noticed. So I was like, now you have backtracked.
No.
Right.
The Romans noticed the seasons were changing and they decided to sort it out. But they had a big problem for a long time because politicians were involved, which is always an issue. So they wanted to sort out the calendar, but politicians realised that they might have to have less time in their office term. Say they want to sort out the calendar and they realise they need to take 30 days out. That means they're not going to be in power for as long. So there was a lot of politics going on of when to sort the calendar out, when not to sort it out. So basically, the years up to, it was 46 BCE, were known as the years of confusion because months just appeared and went and came and literally just disappeared. Caesar then decided, hang on, we're going to have 365 days and then every 4 we're going to have an extra one. So he came up with a leap year. Caesar said, we're doing this. And he did that in 46 BCE.
Makes a good sound.
In order to match it up, 46 BCE as a year had 445 days. There's 445 days in that year because they wanted to sort it all out. He was like, look, we're going to sort it out. This is the plan, but this year's going to have 445 days, just so you know.
So the whole world was like, can be aware.
No, this was the Roman Empire, so it was most of the world.
Imagine reaching the 365th day and ready for a New Year's party. You're all dressed up, and then you're
some man on a horse just comes and he's like,
"You've got another 100 days."
It's so loud. Paul
just lodges your stuff on the floor.
Running into the next village,
take your costume off, peasant.
So they added 2 months between November and December.
How many months? 2 months.
2 months between November and December, basically. But the problem was they hadn't accounted for the other bits. So they've done the 365 and 6 hours, but they didn't account for the 9 minutes and 10 seconds.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, which means that it was still going to happen. The seasons were still shifting. They hadn't solved the problem, right? Now the problem was Christianity, which is often a problem. Christianity, he put in the book the upstart religion of Christianity, they decided that Easter needed to align with spring.
Of course.
Right?
Because you can't do an Easter egg out in the dark, can you?
Yeah, but they decided that...
Imagine if that was why.
So they decided that Easter was aligning with spring, which was Christianity, obviously. But the problem was the seasons kept moving. Yeah? So the Pope got quite pissed.
Wait, no. Wait, when was this?
Huh?
When was this?
We're now talking about the 1500s.
Right, okay, we was about Caesar. We were talking about Caesar.
Yeah, but it only
in
shifted...
45 BC, it was like Easter, and everyone was like, what's Easter? And he was like, well, in 45
they're
years...
only 9 minutes
Jesus,
and 10 seconds off.
It would have taken a couple hundred years.
They're only 9 minutes and
it?
10 seconds off. It's taken ages to shift.
That's
By
true,
the 1500s, bearing in mind this is from 46 BCE, everything had shifted by 10 days.
Can you imagine, 500 years later, there's a Pope going, Caesar sorted this out 500 years ago, why do I have to deal with this?
Yeah, so basically Easter had already moved by 10 days by the 1500s, which was an issue because of the 10 minutes. It just kept adding up, which is a problem. So, a guy called Luigi, this was after the Pope. The Pope said...
Mario?
Yeah, his brother. So basically what happened was, the Pope was like, this isn't good enough, spring needs to stay where it is, fetch me a child. So basically what they said was... Do you know what the solution was? Do you know how leap years work? More than that, there is another thing on leap years. They're every 4 years, but there's another thing as well.
Is it something to do with...
Oh my god, yes, it's...
I think I've told you this before.
If the year... This is going to seem really random if it's wrong. If the year ends in like a 5 or a multiple of 5... No, a multiple of 5. Yeah, it's a multiple of 5. No, I think it is. It's a multiple of something, you don't do it. Every 50?
No, close.
Every 48?
Oh, you weren't that close.
No. I don't know.
Every 100.
Oh. Logarithms, eh?
If it's a multiple of 100, we don't have a leap year.
Oh.
We leap a leap year, we skip a leap year, unless it's also a multiple of 400, in which case we do have a leap year. So basically we skip 3 leap years every 400 years. Every 400 years we skip 3 leap years.
So 2024, no, 2400.
2400
will be the next one.
Will be a leap year. It won't be the next leap year. The next leap year is like...
Yeah, but that one will be skipped.
No.
If there
we
was
skip
one
it
there.
if it's a multiple of 100. So we'll skip 2100. We'll skip 2200. We'll skip 2300. But we will have one in 2400.
Oh, because multiple of 4. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so, the average days in a year now, across the whole thing, is 365.2425. whereas the actual value is 365.2422. So it's very, very close.
Yeah.
It's very, very close. We've pretty much smashed it.
But didn't the Egyptians work it out like they had a set number of days in a month and they had 13 months?
No idea.
There's something about the Egyptian calendar
They've gone with that as well.
where they worked it out like perfectly, and they managed to do it in 13 months instead of 12, and they didn't have to mess about with extra days every so often.
Maybe. I mean, the main issue is obviously that the one rotation of the Earth isn't divisible in rotation around the Sun. Like, one rotation around the Sun isn't divisible by rotations of the Earth. Do you know what I mean? So basically, 1 year isn't divisible by a day. That's the issue. But for some reason, we decided a day should be that and a year should be that, even though it doesn't work.
Couldn't we just change
We've
it?
worked it out now, though. It's done.
Yeah, but to
It's
make
done,
it
though,
less
isn't it?
complicated.
No, but it's done. Yeah, it's not complicated, is it?
Not to remember.
No, but the thing is, the 2100, 2200 thing, people are at most only given to experience that once.
Mm.
So it's not that much of an issue, is it?
So really, we could
We'll
go
probably
like...
experience it twice.
You could technically
Me and
go...
Louis will, you'll have that.
Oh yes, the year 2000, the year 2000 wasn't a leap year, even though it should have been.
Oh, that's what I was
people
going to ask.
said it should have been.
So like
Because
1996...
it was a multiple of 4.
So do you then go 1996 to 2000?
Wait, no, it was a leap year. Sorry, which is why no one got confused. They didn't leap the leap year.
Right.
They didn't. Leap
Oh.
the leap year. So it was one, even though. So nobody got confused. Everyone's fine. That's why your parents won't remember it. My mum doesn't remember because it was a leap year, and everyone just goes, "Oh, it's because it's every 4 years." They don't know the 400 thing.
But why was it a
So it's
leap
multiple
year?
of 4.
Because it's a multiple of 400. We skip multiples of 100 unless it's a multiple of 400.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got them
it is
mixed.
confusing.
I've got
isn't
them
it?
mixed.
So if
Yes.
it was one in 1996...
What?
Oh, I can't do that. If it was one in 1896, right,
Yeah.
we'd skip the year 1900.
Yes.
Would we then have one in 1901, or would we wait till 1904?
No, it's 1904.
Oh, so you can go like 8 years without one.
So,
Not that it affects your life
No.
in any way.
so this is where the problem came in.
Oh, good.
When they changed the calendars, when they were like, right, we're going to have 365, we're going to skip one every 400, blah, 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 they changed that. The Pope actually corrected the calendar completely. He took it back to the 10 days. You know, it skipped 10 days since the Roman Empire. He took it back to the 10 days to correct the calendar fully. He was like, the calendar's fully sorted. But not every country did that. Hence, Russia problem. Right?
Damn.
But England also didn't
Oh,
do it.
because they weren't Christian, were they?
They didn't do it. We also didn't do it.
Yeah, but is that where we
Protestant
changed Church of
Reformation.
England?
Yeah.
This is 1500. We didn't do it.
Protestant Reformation.
So when he changed the calendar, if you look into history or whatever, the 4th of October of that year, the 1500 year, whatever it was immediately followed by the 15th of October. It went 4th to 15th. The days don't exist in between because it just changed. Right?
So, like, here's a good thing. You go to court, and they go, what was you up to? And he goes, well, on the 12th of October, I was here. And they'll go, you weren't. 4th, 15th. Catch them out nicely.
You're missing the fact that this was hundreds and hundreds.
Hundreds.
of
They
years.
had courts, though. They had courts.
So we changed in 1750 was when we decided to finally change. And one of the main reasons we changed was because Scotland actually changed with the Catholic Church. When they changed, Scotland changed. So for 200 years, England were 10 days ahead of Scotland.
That's the
Um,
time change, isn't it?
10 days behind Scotland, sorry.
Right.
So in England...
When you get on a chariot going through, do they go, local time is 10 days after?
You get jet lag, carriage lag.
Yeah.
It had actually shifted, by 1750, it shifted another 2 days as well, so it's actually 12 days off.
You cross the border and you just all of a sudden get really sleepy. What's up, these horses, man?
Yeah.
So in the year 1752, England went from the 2nd of September to the 14th of September. The dates in between do not exist. They're not a part of history. Russia didn't do it until 1918, which is why they missed the 1908 Olympics. They did it 10 years after the Olympics.
I think the whole way through the war as well. So the war ends 10 days.
1918 is when they swapped, yeah.
The war ends sooner in Russia.
Well, I don't know when in 1918 it ended, though, the war.
Maybe that ended the war.
Yeah. So in Russia it went from February 1st...
They just went, for 10 days, we haven't had a fight. And they go, well, you did change the calendar, Russia. And they go, we'll just finish it.
So in Russia it went from February 1st to February 14th. So again, like we were saying earlier, imagine it's February 1st and you're like, got ages till Valentine's
even-
Day. And
yeah,
the next day you go, oh,
Oh, damn it! That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Imagine you missed an assignment deadline because it was on like.
yeah. But because
That's
of
mad.
obviously the world wars and Russia becoming Soviet Union, all that sort of stuff, Russia didn't actually attend another Olympics until 1952 anyway. So it didn't really matter. Last little note on the calendars, and I'm done with calendars, is that a light year is actually defined by Caesar's calendar. So it's how far light goes in a year.
Yeah.
Is actually 365.25. They never bothered to make it more specific than that.
Really?
So light year is defined by Caesar's year, even though we now use a Gregorian year.
Will it ever change?
Oh, it's just confusing, isn't it? No, it's too late now. I think it's just too ingrained as.
Because aren't they changing like the definition of a kilo and stuff? Cause
Yes.
it's off the block and the blocks are
The
eroded.
kilo is defined by a specific block of metal in France, but it's deteriorating.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, it's 1 kilogram. Yeah.
It's just a big bulb of
Yeah.
garlic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's deteriorating, so a kilogram's becoming.
Stereotypes.
I've got a bit more, so this episode's going to be quite long. Not that long though. Tell me about resonance.
What do that mean?
Yeah, kind of. So the classic example of resonance is if you're pushing a swing, right? The swing's going back and forth, and you're pushing it, right? If you push when the swing's far away from you, your push ain't going to do anything, obviously. You have to push in time with the spring.
Yours might not.
The swing,
I
sorry.
can push them out pretty hard.
Yeah. So that's the idea of that's the basic example of resonance. It's to do with frequencies, basically. Right, which is really exciting.
Waves
I hate
trying to
resonance. Yeah, so like in an instrument, when you blow into an instrument, you have to blow at a certain frequency. That's because the wave of your sound in the instrument has to match the length of the instrument. So like, say you've got an instrument, you have to have at least one half wave would make a noise.
Right.
This is very confusing, but like 1/2 a wave would make a noise, 1 full wave would make a noise, 1.5 waves would make a noise. So that's like resonance.
I like how you're only telling him.
Yeah.
So that's basically
Look, this is the thing.
that's basically a brief course on resonant frequencies, which is A-level physics, to be fair.
You right?
The Millennium Bridge. What went wrong when the Millennium Bridge opened?
The calendar.
It
was
didn't
not.
resonate.
Opposite.
It did resonate.
Why was that an issue?
What a guess. It crumbled under the weight of its own resonance.
Is this the bridge like wobbled?
Yes. Well, it swayed from side to
Swayed.
side.
That's it.
The
Yeah.
Millennium Bridge opened and it swayed from side to side like that,
Yes.
which is a big issue because bridges aren't meant to do that.
Yeah.
The problem was
I think not.
the resonant frequency of the bridge was 1 hertz, right? Which probably doesn't mean a lot, but it was 1 hertz, which is just so happens to be about the frequency that humans walk at, and about the frequency of a human step. Humans are basically, I don't know if you knew this as well, no one really understands how humans stay upright and how we can walk.
Right.
The physics, we still can't work out the physics. It's very, very, like, it makes no fucking sense.
It's
basically.
because we're forward leaning, right? And our leg.
No one knows. We have guesses, but like
the biggest guess at the minute is we're slightly tilted forward, and our legs prop us up when we walk. So as we're falling forwards, our legs are just keeping us upright.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the frequency of a human step is about 1 hertz, right? So from side to side, there's a different frequency for up and down. They've known about up and down for ages. They've known about
what?
There's a different frequency for up and down as there is to side because they're different forces, aren't they?
Oh, go on. So if you walk from side to side.
No. You're just walking,
Right.
but every time you take a step,
Yeah.
there's 2 components. There's always 2 components of forces well, there's 3 components of forces in 3D space, but there's 2 that matter.
Okay.
Well, I guess that one sort of matters. There's obviously the up and down force,
Yeah.
which we know for ages. We know that's an issue. There was a bridge where in the 1800s soldiers were walking across it in step, and the bridge started doing that, and they were like, "This is fun," and then it collapsed.
Oh.
But none of them died, but like 40 of them fell like 16 foot into the water below.
That's not very high.
So now there's a lot of bridges. There's like 2 bridges in London that say soldiers must not march in step across this bridge.
I have actually seen it. I never knew why.
They have to break step
Ah.
because their march matches the resonant frequency, and the bridge might collapse.
Wow.
But they've known about up and down for ages, so they've been able to sort up and down. But side to side is less of a force. It's not as big. The component's quite small, so it's never been an issue before until the Millennium Bridge.
Oh, and that's when it snaked.
And the problem was, once the bridge starts moving, people then like sort of not stumble, but you know what I mean. They get into that
Try
sort
to
of motion,
Which makes it worse.
and then when people talk, they end up synced walking, as you probably know.
Yeah.
So, and it only took about 20% of people on the bridge to be in sync for this bridge to just twat side to side. So basically, at maximum, it was moving about 9 centimeters either way, which is quite a lot for a bridge to sway. And they never knew about it, which is quite interesting. So,
can you imagine just having a nice gentle stroll on the bridge, and then all of a sudden you're getting
Whoa,
boys,
yeah,
sailor.
they shut the bridge down. It took 2 years to fix, and it cost £5 million. They basically, the problem was they knew how to fix the bridge quite easily, but obviously it's the Millennium Bridge. You want it to look the same. That was the issue, really. You don't want it to look different. So basically now it's got massive tanks on the bottom full of liquid, because liquid moves slower than the bridge will move, which helps damp it. And then it also has massive pendulums on the bottom as well, which again just takes energy out because the pendulums move at a different frequency.
It's funny how the water below wouldn't have done something.
The thing is, like, the bridge could take, like, that's going to weigh a lot. And a lot of bridges have literally just blocks of concrete. Buildings just have blocks of concrete sometimes because of winds and stuff. Because they can take the weight. Weight's not an issue. It's just resonant frequencies. If they start moving, they will just keep moving and then they will break. And then it opened again, which is quite exciting. There you go. That's the only bit of bridges I kept. Because I
Is that
find bridges
why
quite boring,
they used to make bridges with big arches? Because the force would make sure that the resonant frequency would...
Probably, yeah. But there's, like, bridge design, there's been a bit of trial and error of bridge design, to be honest, because they actually are really hard to design. Because obviously, like, people don't think about stuff like that. You don't think about, like, horizontal components and resonant frequencies when you design a bridge. They would just go, oh, that'll take the weight. And to be fair, it does take the weight, but that's not the issue.
Wow.
My last question, and then we can wrap it up. How many sides do
2.
the black and white shapes on a football have? You know, the classic football.
6. 8.
7.
10.
You know the classic football shape I'm talking about, though, don't you?
Hexagon.
Where they have the shapes on
5.
the
Yeah,
black
yeah.
and white.
Pentagon.
The answer's actually a bit of 6 and a bit of 5.
Huh?
It's a bit of hexagons and there's a bit of
yeah.
pentagons.
Oh, really?
But
Is it because they don't all fit in a sphere?
yeah, this is the issue. And this guy wrote a letter to the
I
government.
knew it was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Whenever you see a football sign, so you're on like a road sign and you're driving, there is a sign for it, and it is one of those footballs.
Yeah.
But all of the shapes are hexagons.
Yeah.
It is impossible for a sphere to be made out of all hexagons. That shape literally cannot exist.
Huh.
It's impossible. The government have put the wrong... That shape cannot physically... There's no way for them to make that shape. You cannot have a sphere made out of hexagons. So he wrote to the government, right? And he was like, look, I'm not being funny, but you need to change your shapes. And he did say in it, I'm not asking you to change the shapes that are already up. I know that would be ridiculous and cost a lot of money. I just want you to say whenever you make more, you will make them accurate and you'll have a mixture of hexagons and pentagons. And they just replied to him and they put, it would be too expensive to replace all the road signs. And he put, it's literally what I said not to do, so he never got him to change it. But I just thought it was quite weird and interesting. But you can...
Maybe we should all write that together.
Yeah, you can make a donut out of all hexagons. So you could have a donut-shaped football made out of
We
all
can make a
hexagons.
frisbee.
Yeah.
The Guzzler frisbee.
Yeah.
It's just a leather
Yeah.
sewn.
It's a leather sewn hexagon. Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
My only other thing is the collapse conjecture, but we won't talk about that.
I feel like I've got masters in it.
No.
No.
And we've only covered about a fifth of that book. So
Yeah, that's pretty mad. And who's it by? What's it called?
So it's called Humble Pie. It's by Matt Parker. There you go. And he does tours. I said they're like a maths tour, but basically he'll just tell stories like that and make them funny. And a bit Dave Gorman-y. Stories like that with like a PowerPoint and stuff.
That's
Make
really
it a bit humorous. So
And he's at the Cambridge Coin Exchange when?
yeah, I doubt it, mate. But he was touring recently, actually.
Is
I was
he
going to go,
is he
but
like British or is he
he's
American?
Australian.
Probably won't be at the Cambridge Coin
He
Exchange.
did a tour of England very recently.
Ah,
very,
okay.
very recently.
Nice.
But there you go. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
When I said maths, I assumed you didn't think it was like that.
No, I didn't. No.
No.
Good.
Was a fan of that?
Good. Thanks.
I think I'm going to have to do an episode about, or a series about Egypt now.
Right.
So next week.
Oh, I was gonna.
Oh yeah, beer. I forgot I drank beer, to be honest.
It's on my way.
Lovely.
Very, very nice, wasn't it?
Really, really nice. But we love this brewery.
Yeah, it's called what? I didn't know it's called that.
The brewery, or
No, it's called Bureau's the brewery. It's called Nature Rub.
Oh,
Nacho
Nacho.
But Bureau's one of our favourite Bureaus. There's always like random. Is this a walrus with a bow tie and a hat?
Yeah, there's one that's like a cat. We've 4 of them, I think.
Yeah,
I think
I think it is. Really good. We had a Schwarz beer from them before. Really good. 4.9%. What's it? 49%. Unfiltered Pilsner.
I would highly recommend. Highly recommend. Lovely.
Nice.
Goes well with maths.
I had Mad Goose by Purity Brewery. I just picked it up at the co-op. It's a premium pale ale. It says, crafted with conscience in the heart of Warwickshire. This bottle embodies our love of great beer with real character, brewed responsibly to leave an even better taste in your mouth.
No, I think we've had one from that brewery before.
Have we?
I'm sure.
Isn't that blue box?
I'm sure we've had a Purity beer at Charters. Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, Purity. Maybe.
With Buzzer, maybe not. So I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Oh, it was a pale ale. It tastes like a typical pale ale. It wasn't too bad. It was nice.
Did you do that?
I was showing you, I liked it.
Oh, right. I just thought you like, take that home.
Yeah, keep that, mate.
Alright, thanks. Cool. Thanks for watching us next week.
We're talking about profits and miracles.
So, just fake shit.
Maybe. I don't actually have any examples of them, so we're just going to...
Miracles basically a maths
chat.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just going to chat as we go, guys.
Have you not written anything?
Yeah, I haven't written about miracles, necessarily.
Okay. We'll just talk about me. I'm a miracle.
Maybe.
No.
We'll see what happens.
That's fucking rude.
Aren't we all miracles?
No.
Yes, and that is what we'll talk about next week.
Oh, that needs to be
Thank you for watching this Guzzler video.